Welcome back to Creating Stuff. Today in the shop, I'm working on something a little different. I'm generally a four-wheel drive kind of guy and a truck guy, and but behind me is a 1971 MGB. This car belongs to my father, and like I said, I've got a little bit of modifications we're going to do to it, try to see if we can make it better. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to install an aftermarket fuel injection system on this car. Before I get too far into it, I'm sure there's somebody watching the video saying, well, why would I want to put fuel injection on my car? My carburetor works just fine. Well, carburetors work good, but fuel injection works much better. And the truth of it is, although this is not going to be factory original for a car, for people who restore them, that's not what this is intended for. The biggest thing we're going to try to accomplish is putting fuel injection is going to make the car run better, start better, run more efficient. And if you put all those together, then it's going to make the car more enjoyable to drive, and you're going to drive it more. So that's the reality of what I'm trying to accomplish, is create better drivability in a car so it can be used more. And I remember my dad used to have a saying way back in the day that I still use today, is that, you know, antique cars, they're not meant to be appreciated sitting underneath a plate glass looking at it. The only way to truly appreciate them is to drive them. And if you have better driving and running characteristics, then you're likely going to probably drive that car a little bit more often. I'm ready to dive right into this. And so, tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I'm working on with the car and what we're going to put on for fuel injection. So, tell you what, let's get after it. Well, to start this off, this is a 1971 MGB. It's a two-seater convertible sports car. Size of the car is, well, like I said, this car is not the largest, but basically for a modern equivalent, I'll compare it to a Mazda Miata. It's about the same size, so about the same idea. So these are generally not the most powerful cars on the road, but once again, we're not trying to achieve power. We're looking for better drivability. But the reality of it is, these cars are peppy to drive. Like I said, they're pretty fun, and and they have a lot of car clubs across the country. My dad's been a member of the local MG car club in the area I live since I was a kid. So, and they're actually very, very active. But they are fun cars to drive. So, tell you what. Let's look under the hood, see what we're working with. All right, under the hood, this car is equipped with a 1.8 liter, 4-cylinder, cast iron block, cast iron head, overhead valve engine. Nothing really spectacular. It produces anywhere from 65 horsepower, maybe like 110. I really don't believe this one's making over 100 horsepower, but once again, we're not really looking after a whole lot. I mean, we're not trying to drag race this car by any means, but there's, you know, though doesn't have a lot of power, I mean, the car only weighs about 2,000 pounds, so it's not real heavy, so they tend to be very peppy to drive. So, anyways, and also, if you didn't know, the MG Car Company, this is a British designed and made car. So this comes from Great Britain. Nothing wrong with that. Like I said, very fun car. So, and what I'm planning to do is we're going to put fuel injection on this. And now we're going to look down at the current carburetor, which this is not a factory carburetor. This is a Weber 2-barrel side draft carburetor. The car did not come with this carburetor on it. This was added at some point. And that's the thing, and that's the other side about doing fuel injection, is some of the carburetors that this engine came with generally weren't the best. Well, I'll probably eat it in the comments for that one, but I said it. But the other side of it was I actually drove one of these cars as my first car when I was in high school. Had to share it with my sister, and that didn't help. But anyways, so some of the carburetors weren't the best. In '71, this, like I said, not the original carburetor. This car originally came with dual SU carburetors. And like I said, that's another thing. Some people have the knack for dual carburetors, keeping them synced. Like I said, that was always my tough part. Is I always struggled keeping those carburetors synced. And the later MGs, because the MGB, I believe it was produced from 1962 to 1980, if I'm not mistaken. Someone can correct me on that. But some of the later ones, like the late 70s, they actually came with a single barrel Xena Stromberg, which that made the SU carburetors look good. So, like I said, these cars had a little history of not having the best carburetors, in my opinion. But we're going to try and fix that. We're going to try and make this a little bit better. So now that I show you what we're working on for a car, now let me show you what we're going to do for fuel injection. Well, this is the fuel injection system that I'm going to retrofit onto the MG. It's a Holley Sniper. The actual model is a 2300 Sniper. This particular system is designed to be a direct replacement for a 2-barrel Ford Motorcraft carburetor. So if you had one of those cars, you could take that 2-barrel carburetor off. This goes directly on. Unfortunately, we can't do that on the MG. And that's the other side of it is the MG, since it doesn't have the numbers that some other vehicles have, there's really not, and this is probably why I'm kind of interested in doing this, is because there's not a whole lot of information out there about people putting fuel injection on. But the beauty part about this system is it's actually universal, is because although it's designed to replace a Ford Motorcraft carburetor, through the programming in the ECU, is you can set this up for more or less any vehicle. So, and I'll actually go more over that when we work on the installation. So, and this particular one, I've actually installed one of these on my Toyota Land Cruiser. I'll probably put a quick picture of that right here. And I put it in, and I was beyond happy with it. It was absolutely incredible. Cold starts were amazing. You can start, 40-degree morning, you can start it up and drive away right away. No choke, no nothing. Like I said, this works absolutely incredible. And the design on how they made this is more or less self-contained, because there's no ECM with wiring harness. The ECM is actually incorporated into this throttle body assembly, and that's the other side of it is this is a throttle body style fuel injection, which works amazing. It works great. It's not as good as multi-port, but once again, I'm not trying to achieve massive amounts of power. I'm actually just trying to get better drivability, runability of the car. So, but as I said, this is for the most part very much self-contained. The ECM is inside here, along with the injectors, the fuel pressure regulator, idle air control stepper motor, map sensor. You have a air intake temperature sensor, idle air control stepper motor, and actually, in all honesty, the only sensors that are not inside this throttle body is a coolant temperature sensor and then an oxygen sensor. So once again, this is a very nice setup. And when I get farther into the installation, I will actually show you some of the other really nice features about this. But you can buy this as a complete kit, and basically it's going to come with your throttle body, your wiring harness. It'll come with your O2 sensor, coolant sensor. If you don't know how to weld, it has this little thing on how you can drill a hole in your exhaust pipe and use some clamps and a seal to put your O2 sensor. Luckily, I can weld, so I'm going to put a weld-in fitting. That's going to work a lot better than that. Not saying that won't work. You get a harness for your fuel pump. It comes with a fuel pump, fuel filter, and all that. I just don't have it here right now. It's coming. So, but we got to put together a new fuel system. And then it also has a touchscreen display screen, which we can use this for programming and using it for monitoring engine data. Excuse me. So when I go over setting up the sniper, I'll go more into depth about that. So once again, but I've been very happy with this sniper. It's worked very, very well, and I'm looking forward to some of the good driving characteristics that I can give to this MG. I'm really curious to see how this turns out. So this is the system that I'm putting in the car, and so like I said, I'm pretty excited about that. All right, well, this video, and I meant to say something in the beginning of this video, this one is going to be rather short, but part of the reason is because the whole process of putting this on the car, there's a couple of challenges that have to be overcome. And there's actually a lot of information in this, so I'm actually going to break this up into numerous videos. So this is just an introduction. This is just showing you what I have, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to break it up into numerous other videos. And like I said, the first and most obvious one is basically I have to this throttle body. There's no manifold on the planet that bolts this throttle body to that engine. So basically, I have to adapt this throttle body onto that engine. That's going to be the first video. Then the second video is we're going to have to install the temperature sensor somewhere in the engine. That has its own troubles, and I'm going to cover those in its own video, because like I said, I feel like I came up with a pretty good solution for this, but when I focus on that and the process and everything you have to go through for that, I'll cover some of those. Then the third video is going to be installing the fuel system. Is the fuel system the car currently has, it's sufficient for a carburetor, nowhere near sufficient for fuel injection, is because I have to put in a fuel pump that has much higher volume, much higher pressure, and it has to be an electric fuel pump, not the mechanical one this car has on the side of the engine. So I take that back. This may not have a. I take that back. I'm used to other stuff. I don't believe this one does not have a fuel pump on the side. It does have a small electric pump. But basically, we have to put a larger electric fuel pump in, have to upgrade the fuel lines, put larger fuel lines in, and the most important part is that what this car does not have is have to add a fuel return line. Is because the way fuel injection works, it builds up pressure, it has a regulator, and whatever fuel it doesn't use, it circulates it back into the tank. So have to add, and this car does not have a fuel return line, so we have to add one for that. So I'm going to do an entire video about setting up the fuel system, and I'll even go over the wiring for the sniper at that time as well, which once the wiring for it is incredibly simple. There's really not a whole lot to it. And then the final video is I'm going to go over with you the setup, the software setup procedures, or the programming for the sniper to program it for this car. So that will be the final video. Get it running, take it for a test drive, and see how it does. So those are the videos that I'm going to have coming up. And so, but I'm very excited for this project. I think this is going to turn out very well. All right, wrapping this video up, and the truth of it is, you do have some information in here that, and although this is for this sniper on this specific car, the truth of it is, you could actually take the techniques I'm doing with this, and you could possibly apply it to something else. So, although you may have a car that no one makes a fuel injection system for, you could use these same techniques to provide yourself with the same benefits. So, so that's where, even if you don't own an MG, I mean, this can also have some pertinent information that you may be interested in. So, but anyways, well, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. And like I said, if you like the video, or if you're excited to see the upcoming videos on this car, please subscribe to my channel. And like I said, and the biggest purpose of me doing this channel is I really want to provide inspiration to other people with whatever projects you may be working on. There are skills out there that are learning. They're not unachievable. They're very achievable. And you can do, like this project I'm doing, you can do it without having a lot of really expensive equipment. So there's ways and techniques that I will go through in these upcoming videos to show you this. So, but until then, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you find some inspiration. So, but until the next time, be creative.